All right, welcome everybody.
Yay. Well, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone. Wherever you are watching this live, we hope you are doing well and we hope you are being safe. I'm Jennifer Trafficanda.
And I'm Sabrina Sayok.
And we're members of FYLPRO. And we're here to welcome you to this virtual event celebrating the 9th anniversary of FYLPRO. FYLPRO is a Filipino youth leadership program, an organization of ambitious next generation leaders that are very committed and very passionate to their Filipino culture in the US and, of course, in the Philippines. This is a virtual event to increase awareness and to support the organization.
So this week marks the 9th anniversary of FYLPRO. So we'll be taking you on a journey throughout this week. At this time every single day for the rest of the week, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, starting with celebrating the years FYLPRO has evolved, moving on to all the achievements of our alumni today and what they've accomplished, and to tell you all a little bit more about what we have in store for the future months and for our next batch of leaders.
Now, before we introduce our host and our guest, we would like to point out that this is a fundraising event as well. In our Facebook event, we have a link where you can support our organization. No amount is too small for the efforts that we want to accomplish. Thank you. Now, here is a video of FYLPRO in the past years.
So I'll show you this quick sizzle video, and then after that video, we'll take it away with a message from our president, Luella Cabalona, and then our vice president, Lizelle Tanglao, who will be hosting tonight's event for you all and introducing our former presidents and our special guest alumni. So let's get this sizzle video started.
I urge you to apply to the Filipino-American Youth Leadership Program.
FYLPRO, or the Filipino Young Leaders Program, its intent is to empower Filipino Americans to lead their respective communities in the U.S. and actually to strengthen the long-standing Philippine-U.S. relations.
And what FYLPRO means to me is just defining such a beautiful family that I've never had before.
What FYLPRO means to me is an opportunity to learn from my fellow.
Chance to show the world what we can do. I'm very proud that there's other Filipinos behind me supporting me.
And for the Philippine Embassy, FYLPRO represents the future of the Filipino-American community.
Join the conversation.
Racism and anti-Asian hate in the United States, of course, are not new.
Colonialism and imperialism are acts of anti-Asian hate.
In many of these conversations, we quickly found out that COVID-19 impacted everyone in every capacity.
So that was our little sizzle on FYLPRO. Again, we're now excited to introduce our president, Luella.
I urge you to apply to the Filipino-American Youth Leadership Program.
This is so good that we want to play it a second time, but in order to stick to our schedule, we'll skip along. We'll let Luella take it away to tell you all a little bit more about herself and what she's looking forward to this year.
Thank you, Sabrina. Magandang gabi, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Good evening, morning, wherever you may be in the world. Thank you for tuning in, and I am glad you are here to celebrate FYLPRO's 9th-year anniversary with us. I'm Luella Rose Cabalona, joining you from Chicago, the ancestral homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi tribes, but originally hailing from Pasig, Philippines. Today, we celebrate 9 years since we had our very first immersion program that I am honored to be a part of, selected from nearly 500 applicants across the country at that time. In the company of young Filipino-American leaders who wanted to give back to the Philippines and connect with the Philippines and with each other, I took away 3 P's. A fresh perspective. FYLPRO allowed me to see a different view of the Philippines, a progressive country with young concerned citizens taking up leadership positions in government, titans in business supporting small entrepreneurs, a thriving environment for a reverse brain drain, that is, with PhilAms coming back to start their businesses and grow their careers. A clear purpose. I learned that being a Filipino American meant I had a responsibility to use this privilege to help advance the Philippines and our people. And the third P, new friends. 9 individuals, outstanding PhilAm leaders in their own communities who have and continue to be my inspiration. From my own experience, I knew FYLPRO was a unique program, a gift for anyone who gets the opportunity to be part of it. This was the reason why 6 years ago, nearly over 20 alumni from the first 3 batches and 2 from the 4th batch who have not even gone through the immersion yet, came together in New York to unite on a vision to keep this program alive beyond the post of our well-loved ambassador, Jose L. Cuisha. This vision, I can say with much confidence, is shared by our long-standing partners, the Philippine Embassy under the leadership of our very supportive Ambassador, Jose Manuel Romualdez, and Ayala Foundation, led by President Roel Maranan. It is the same vision that every officer, president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer, and every board of director who served our organization hopes for, in that collectively we can help build a pipeline of PhilAm leaders who will advance the Philippines and the Filipino people. So today, we thank and celebrate their courage, their determination, and hard work in making FYLPRO what it is now. Today, we celebrate the 84 alumni who had been part of our immersion program and the accolades they have achieved. Today, we celebrate the many helping hands and hearts that allow us to provide relevant programming despite and because of the impact of COVID in our community. To Joshua Price, FYLPRO President 2020, Mark Calaguas, Batch 26, and FYLPRO Tayo's Legal Counsel, and our Board of Director, Alvin Adriano. Thank you for being a part of this event tonight. To all our guests here on Zoom and our friends watching live, thank you for being here. Magandang gabi sa inyong lahat, and happy anniversary to FYLPRO and to all of us.
All right, everyone, give a hand to Luella, our president. Thank you so much for sharing. At this time, we're going to introduce our vice president back to you. Lizelle, we're going to let Lizelle take it away to tell a little bit more about herself and give you a little bit of a snapshot of what to expect for the rest of the evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jennifer and Sabrina. Thank you, Luella, for that great introduction. I'm Lizelle Tanglao. I am this year's vice president, as well as the chair of the COVID-19 task force and project director of Tayo. I'm super excited to have you here tonight, and I'm excited to have some great conversations and looking back at our past, present, and future of FYLPRO. Just personally for me, it's been one of the most life-changing experiences I've had, and happy to give back to this organization that has given me so much. So in terms of programming tonight, you'll hear from 2 special guests. our 2020 president, Joshua Ang Price, and as well as a couple of other key folks later tonight. And yeah, so I'm really excited to kick off this conversation with Josh. So Josh, would you like to introduce yourself? I can't keep up with all your accomplishments, so it's easier if you go ahead and introduce yourself, and let's have this conversation.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you, Lizelle. Thank you to Luella and everyone else for joining us tonight and putting this amazing annual virtual event together. I hope this will be the first of many, many more in the future. And I think this is a great idea to highlight our alumni and the hard work that we've all done, and the hard work of FYLPRO, especially during the pandemic. So thank you, President Luella, for putting this together. My name is Joshua Ang Price. I was the president of FYLPRO in 2020, and I was a part of batch 7 in 2018. So 2020 was a very interesting year, as we all know, because of the pandemic. But I'm proud that we were, as an organization, able to pivot during that difficult time and provide some aid to our Filipino and Philam communities that were struggling during the pandemic. And we also launched, of course, Tayo Help Desk that Lizelle's been such a huge part of. And I'm just very excited about everything that FYLPRO has done and continues to do for the Filipino and Philam people. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Arkansas in a small town called Delight, not Delight, Delight. My mom was a nurse from the Philippines, recruited to work in rural America, which is a very common story for a lot of Philams, and she's originally from Rojas City, Capiz. I'm repping Iloilo behind me because most of my family is from Iloilo, but was relocated to a very small town in Arkansas called Murfreesboro, Arkansas. And born and raised in Arkansas. I've worked as a communications expert with 2 federal agencies, the Delta Regional Authority and the U.S. Small Business Administration here most recently. I'm also involved in government and politics and some small business consulting. I've got a few things going on right now. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say or not say, so I'll wait till you ask. When do I sleep? Not often, but there's so much work to be done. And to be honest, it's such a pleasure and an honor for me to be able to represent my fellow Arkansans, especially my fellow Filipino Americans that live here in Arkansas, and my fellow AAPI. Arkansas has about 60,000, well, actually, with the new census information, it's up to about 80,000 Asian American Pacific Islanders, and Filipino Americans make up the 3rd largest group of Asian American Pacific Islanders in the state of Arkansas. So I also served as election commissioner in Pulaski County, which is our most populous county, and the county seat is Little Rock. And I was the first Philam to be in that position, the first AAPI to be in that position, and only one of 5 AAPI elected officials in the state at the time, and only 2 that were Filipino American. So again, it's been such an honor and a pleasure to be able to serve the Filipino American people, not just through FYLPRO nationally and internationally, but also here in my home state of Arkansas.
Yeah, thank you for your service. It's just been, especially from last year, which was a very challenging year in so many different fronts. I'd be curious, Arkansas is not necessarily the first place you think of Filipinos, even though we are everywhere. So I'm curious, how did you find out about FYLPRO and what made you apply for the immersion program?
Yeah, so I actually found out about FYLPRO through another alumni, Laki Siap. So I had gone through the APAC's, Asian Pacific American Institute for Congressional Studies National Leadership Academy in Washington, D.C. in 2017. And Laki was also part of that program. So I met him there in D.C. And what was funny is funny story, we actually bonded because there was only 3 of us that were Filipino American. And then Laki, I think his family's from Cebu, is that right? So like I could speak Ilonggo and he could speak Cebuano and we could understand each other. So we thought that was pretty cool and pretty interesting. But he was actually going to stay with some friends in the area because Laki knows people everywhere, for those of you who know Laki. But then it became a little bit of a burden for him to kind of go back and forth. So I actually didn't have a roommate for whatever reason. I didn't I didn't have one, so I had a spare bed. So he ended up staying in my room about half the time. So we really kind of bonded with each other. And then he told me about FYLPRO. He's like, hey, if you like this, like you should be part of FYLPRO. So it sounded great to me, and I applied that year. Unfortunately, I didn't get in because it's very competitive. 10 people only selected, and we bumped it up to 15. Yes, FYLPRO bonding for sure. And then I applied in 2018, and then I got in. But as you said, Lizelle, it was definitely a life-changing experience. It's something that I think about almost every single day, and it really did impact my life and change me for the better.
So what would you say is your top takeaways from the immersion program? It's been a couple of years now, right? So,
well, I'm going to quote Jose Rizal: "No history, no self," and then "No history, no self." And if we don't know who we are and where we came from, how can we know where we're going? And I feel like Filipino Americans, oftentimes we tend to be, everyone knows that they're Filipino Americans, and we see a lot of them in the nursing fields and etc. But we oftentimes are a hidden community, and there's 4.1 million Filipino Americans in this nation, but only 62 elected officials. That's a very small margin and not representative of the community at all. So for me, knowing where I came from and learning more about the proud history of the Filipino people and what all we've endured through colonialism and everything else, but we just still keep going, and how we just kind of spread throughout the world, and we're successful anywhere you plant us. It really helped empower me as a person and make me kind of feel like a whole person, and I jokingly said to Daryl on our immersion trip, I said, you shouldn't have empowered me so much. You've created a monster. So, but no, I do, knowing where you came from, knowing what your ancestors went through, it makes you feel stronger, and it makes you feel like you have a destiny ahead of you. So I would say that being part of the FYLPRO immersion program has boosted my confidence in myself immensely. Absolutely.
Yes. So I think you submitted 5 or several of your favorite photos from.
I did.
Yeah. Can we pull those up? I'd love to take a look at those. Can we share those?
And Lizelle, I got to be part of your immersion trip for batch 8, and we had a very different, it's not a very different experience, similar, but there were different things. So some of these you'd probably resonate with. You're like, some of what is going on. Yeah. So this photo was in San Juan, and I had been on ANC that morning on a TV show along with Shar McGinnis, and Lockie was there, I believe, too, and Meriden Villanueva. And then we got there a little bit late, and we really didn't know what to expect. And we got to San Juan, and there was this huge performance going on, and we got there late. So we're like, wait, what is happening?
Here. It looks like you're rocking it over here, Josh.
Well, they had us all come in and jump in and dance. And so I chose this picture because I know that a lot of times as the government guy and the political guy, I'm really buttoned up. But I chose this picture to show that I also know how to let loose and have fun sometimes. I'm not always boring, I promise. So that was me just kind of jumping in and having fun. And I remember Lizelle, you sleep very little on the trip, but that night we slept less than usual because I think we had to be at the studio at like 5 in the morning or something like that. So I was running off like 3 hours of sleep, but the adrenaline just kept me going. So it was just a lot of fun. It was a great way to, I don't know, just let loose a little bit and dance with all those kids. This is on the last day of our trip. We were at the Treasury building, which is, someone remind me what it's called in Manila. Ayuntamiento, I think.
Ayuntamiento, yeah.
Yeah, Ayuntamiento, and it was a beautiful, gorgeous building. And I think this is, I'm being biased because it was my batch, but I think this is the best, or at least one of the best teleseria photos. And I think it had a lot to do with where we were, just such a beautiful, majestic building with so much history. So I really love this photo. I think it just really summed up that building. So this is a candid photo that it still makes me smile. So yeah. One of my batchmates, Meriden Villanueva, she had this beautiful hand-beaded dress, and it was super heavy. Like it weighed like 40 pounds or something. So we started going up these stairs, and Brian Tahoe, who was one of my batchmates, we were walking beside her, and she looked up at us and she's like, I can't get up these stairs. This dress is too heavy. So we literally had to pick the dress up and help carry her up the stairs in the dress because it was so heavy. And she was just laughing. And then I didn't even realize this picture got taken. It was a candid photo, but I just thought it showed in a way how much we had bonded with each other, that we were even like helping each other like get up the stairs in Meredith's heavy dress. So it was just a very candid photo to me that it really made me smile. All right, so we went to, I forget what museum, but we were learning about Filipino history. And if someone knows the museum, please jump in. But this to me really impacted me because I'm involved in government and politics. And, for those of you who have ever been to DC and you've been to Congress or any of the Smithsonian museums, you see all the kind of the founding fathers in the United States, which are all obviously of European descent. But to be in a museum and seeing, Andres Bonifacio and Jose Dizon and all these different kind of founding fathers of the Philippines, and to see that they look like me, like I'm looking at people that look like me, it was so impactful to me. It actually, as we say in the South, I got the vapors a little bit. It brought a little bit of a tear to my eye, because again, it was showing that rich history and seeing those leaders that fought so hard to found the Philippines, and to see people that looked like me. Finally, seeing somebody in paintings and pictures that looked like me. National Museum, thank you, Luella. It was so powerful. Oh, and there we were on ANC early edition in the morning. That was just a great experience to be able to be on a show like that with Annalisa Burgos, who's now a member of the board. So that was just an amazing experience, and be able to talk about the trip and everything that we were doing. We really enjoyed that. Yeah, those were the 5 photos that kind of stood out to me as different things I'd experienced during my immersion trip.
So I'm curious, with that particular photo that you picked about with the leaders, how much did you know about that back history before you went?
Not a lot, to be honest. I mean, it's not like they really teach Philam history or Filipino history in schools here in America. But when I did get accepted to be part of the program, I did do a little bit of homework and learned a little bit about it. I'm a nerd like that. I like to go back and research a little bit. So I wanted to at least be a little bit familiar with what we were doing. But no, for the most part, I didn't really know a lot about it. So that was, again, very powerful and impactful to me, to be able to see some of that history. And again, see, it's always important to see leaders that look like you, and to know that you come from a proud and strong ancestry, and that if they could do it, you could do it too.
Yeah, and as you know, FYLPRO, I mean, leaders is in part of our name. So I guess I'm curious, let's talk about the present. What are some current projects and advocacies you are currently leading right now?
Yes. So again, I was election commissioner for Pulaski County, Arkansas during the election, during the pandemic. That was very challenging just because of the logistics of conducting an election during a pandemic. Making sure poll workers are safe and the voters are safe and all the locations are clean. And I don't know where everyone else is from, but in our county and where I'm from here in Arkansas, we have 120 120 polling locations and about 1,000 poll workers. So it was quite a big challenge. It was a big job. And then I was also working for the U.S. Small Business Administration during that time as the public information officer for the state of Arkansas. So letting our small businesses and nonprofits know about PPP and economic injury disaster loans and all the type of federal funding that was out there. So without getting too political, I learned a lot of things, and I saw a lot of gaps, and I saw a lot of people falling in between those gaps, including a lot of our minority groups, a lot of our AAPI groups, our Hispanic Americans and Black Americans. And I said to myself that I know now how the sausage was made. I've seen behind the curtain, and I'm not going to be able to sleep at night if I don't do something about it. So I recently announced that I am running for Secretary of State for the state of Arkansas.
Great. Yeah, so let's talk about the future. We know that this is a very competitive program, and hopefully things will settle down with COVID and we can return again to travel. I guess what advice would you have for folks that are considering applying for FYLPRO in the future?
I'm going to say 3 words, guess my marketing brain: just do it. Just do it. It is an amazing opportunity. It changed my life in more ways than I can even imagine. Having all my alumni that I can talk to, and like as someone saying earlier, Luella, I think you said this earlier, having those peers and people that you could reach out to that are on, even if they're not on similar career goals as you are, but the work they're doing in their communities as well. It's so inspiring. And it's good to know that no matter what kind of hardship you go through in your daily life, you have a group that is like family that's going to support you and encourage you and be there for you. So if you want to learn about your history, if you want to learn about yourself, if you want to make lifelong friends, and if you want to be inspired to make a big change in your Phil-Am community, then absolutely, I can't stress enough, sign up and join FYLPRO, make a donation, support FYLPRO, because FYLPRO is, it's an amazing organization. And if you become a part of this program, I promise you, you won't regret it.
And you took it a step further when you came back. I think you also stepped up into leadership with FYLPRO as the 2020 president. What was the highlight of your year? I mean, what was the most memorable, I guess, things or moments that you're probably most proud of?
I think that for me, well, in general, all the community work we did, I was proud of, but the money we raised, the grant, we applied for grants and got our first grants, and we're able to launch the Tayo Help Desk. I know you were in charge of that and still are. That to me, even peripherally, that it happened under my watch. I'm so proud of that program, and I'm so proud of you, Lizelle, for heading that up, and everyone that's been a part of that team. I think it's something that was very much needed in a difficult time, not only for our nation, but for Filipino Americans in general, with all the misinformation that was floating around. And I think that that's a program that's going to last for many years to come. So very, very proud of that program, and just proud in general of the work we did, raising money for protective equipment, raising money for those food boxes, and all the different ways we supported the Phil-Am community during the pandemic. Because at the end of the day, when tragedy strikes, we have to band together and be there for one another. And I think that's what I'm the most proud of in 2020.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. Thank you for your leadership this past year and your continued community service as you move forward in all the projects and works you do. I mean, talk about not getting sleep. I thought I didn't get any sleep. I think we're in a club of no sleep here.
Well, Lisa, we had a lot of late nights working on those grants for Tayo Help. A lot of late nights, and Mark was there too, and yeah,
everyone on this call.
Yeah, everyone on this call was there. Yes.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you so much, Josh. And thank you for being here, and thank you for your continued support of FYLPRO, and looking forward to working together again closely in the years to come. So
absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. Maraming salamat po. And I will try to attend all week as much as I can. I'm going to do some campaigning and traveling tomorrow, but I will be on as much this week as I'm able.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Josh, for teeing it up. Actually, if we can put up how you can support FYLPRO, there's definitely many ways to do that. And thank you to Luella to getting us into such a great place technology-wise. So there's just so many ways you can help support us. You can donate stocks instead of cash. You could also visit our webpage. You can go, through PayPal, Zelle, Network for Good. There's so many ways you can support. And we also have an Amazon Smile page that you can also make sure if you are purchasing things on Amazon, we get a little cut too. So yeah. So lastly, just please, if you can, consider supporting us in this way. We'd love to have you do that. And then in addition, if we can go to next slide, another big event, this year's been incredibly busy, is FYLPROCon being led by Kit, one of our former presidents, Kit, and as well as Luella. Super excited to have this take place in November. And we're looking for speakers. So if this is another way to contribute and support FYLPRO. If you want to present an idea or put a panel together, we'd love to hear it. We'd love to work with you in any way possible. These are just a sampling of our 3 sponsorship packages. Also to register and to get more information, just go to phylprocon.com. And yeah, so that is in November. So now we'll move over to a board of directors testimonial. Alvin Adrano, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, who has a couple words to share with us about why he decided to join the board. We go ahead and play it.
My name is Alvin Adriano, CEO of TravelWise International. I'm a national board member of FYLPRO and the chairperson of the Volunteer Engagement and Mentorship Program. FYLPRO has been an amazing experience, has given me so many opportunities to network and connect with positive individuals. FYLPRO is an amazing platform for me to share and execute ideas that I believe would unite people. And being able to access their robust networks of individuals and partnerships have opened many doors that I didn't even know existed. Being able to implement initiatives and projects within the organization has allowed me to collaborate and work with some of the best individuals. And I could not be more excited for the future of FYLPRO. I support FYLPRO because it's an organization that really intrigued me because I was looking for an organization that wanted to grow the Filipino community for young leaders. I wanted to find an organization that aligned with my goals to educate and inspire other Filipinos to appreciate their culture and heritage. Being able to connect with so many high-achieving Filipino leaders in a variety of industries, which in turn provided me with an unlimited amount of perspective and insight. I truly appreciate the camaraderie and passion within the organization. And I truly believe more people should think about aligning themselves with an organization like FYLPRO. So thank you. Take care, guys. My name is Alvin Adriano.
So good, we played it twice again. Thank you. Thank you, Alvin. Next we'll have a alumni spotlight. Super excited to have this conversation with Mark Calaguas, who is from batch 2016. Mark, so can we—
Hey, Lizelle. Hi, everyone.
Hey, Mark. So you are also another busy person that's involved in so many organizations. I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks. I'm an attorney. My background, I practice at the intersection of law and technology, where I advise clients on data protection matters and also for their electronic discovery issues. As Lizelle noted, I also am involved in a lot of extracurriculars in the community. I'm the current president of the Filipino American Lawyers Association of Chicago. I was a founding board member of that group, as well as the National Filipino American Lawyers Association, or NFALA, and I'm currently an at-large trustee at that organization. I'm also the board chair for FYRE, which is the Alliance of Filipinos for Immigrant Rights and Empowerment. We're a small nonprofit here in Chicago that works to advance the rights of immigrants, particularly the undocumented, senior citizens, and domestic workers. And then there's a couple other things there in the mix too. I am on the Illinois Advisory Committee for the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights, which is an all volunteer panel, investigatory panel, where we are the eyes and ears of the commission in terms of civil rights issues here in Illinois. And what else? Oh yes, I'm also the chief legal advisor for the Title Help Desk, which has been a really amazing experience as well.
Yeah, so you're not, what you're saying, Mark, you're not busy at all, right?
No, I suspect that you and Josh still probably get less sleep than I do, but I'm kind of right there behind you two on most days, it feels like.
I know we're always up to something. So if you can tell us, like, you did the immersion program in 2016, so it's been about what, 5 years removed. Mm-hmm. So I'd be curious, like, again, how did you find out about it, and what was your top takeaways from it?
Sure. Again, it was through personal connections. So here in Chicago, I had been involved in the community for about, this was maybe 3 or 4 years into it, again, with the groups that I previously mentioned. And, you go to enough events after a while and you start running into, the same group of people. Lockie, of course, was one of them. And also another fellow Chicago alum, which is Abby Eusebio. And, through both of them, they freely shared about their experiences on the program, said, couldn't say enough good things about it. And eventually, some of my kind of friends in the community kind of suggested maybe, I should apply. And I did, and now you're stuck with me.
Not a bad thing. I guess, do you have any favorite memories from your, I think you guys also did about a week, right?
Yeah. Well, the nature of the trip itself was pretty special because I think like a lot of PhilAms, I had made it back a few times, over the years as a younger person. Of course, those were for family trips, really large reunions. Where your family's so large that basically you spend all your time catching up with those folk, which is really important and fantastic and really great to know about, your own personal history. But what of course makes FYLPRO different is that you are selected because of, your own professional interests and accomplishments, as an adult. So it was definitely just really refreshing and eye-opening and really exciting to be in the room and just talking with really high level folks, in government, in nonprofits, artists, creatives, and talking about the issues that kind of matter to you, and them, soliciting your opinions and your insights, again, as a fully autonomous adult and not, tagging along on a family trip. And of course, I also made time, to see my family after, but, that was just really kind of, clinched everything together where kind of your professional path kind of starts to move in conjunction with kind of your personal identity. So that was really cool. And, I'll take all the memories with me, for the rest of my life.
And how has it kind of influenced, what you're up to today, your success in your career?
Sure. Well, just again, the kind of meetings that you would have and the kind of conversations and to be there with kind of decision makers kind of sets you up to kind of be in that mindset that, you belong in these rooms and to participate in these conversations. So my FYLPRO experience, helped me a lot in kind of being selected for subsequent leadership programs. So 2 years after my FYLPRO experience, I was selected as one of 15 that year to do a similar immersion trip to Mexico, where we met again with cabinet secretaries, legislators, CEOs of kind of major corporations, and a lot of the NGOs there. And again, that was a really incredible trip as well. But I just remember getting the itinerary and looking at it. I'm like, this is pretty familiar, So I think I know what I'm in store for, and I think I can bring some really good contributions to the conversation. And and that those kind of interactions as well, obviously, are really good for as you advance in your career. Not just participating in meetings, but running them, whether, it's in the boardroom at your organization or out in the community as well. And just, and the policy discussions that we would have kind of also prepped me for my federal appointment. And even, at my position at my local school council as well. So it's all relevant, no matter how you cut it.
And then I see you changed your background. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that? Like, where's that from?
Sure. So this is part of the, the 5 photos I was supposed to share. I wasn't able to submit it for the program, but Luella informed me that I think there will be opportunity for me to share directly. But one of the 5 is this one here, my background. This is one of our infamous teleserie photos. And this was in one of kind of the main halls at Malacañang. We just timed it right where we were the only people in that corridor. So really quickly, very efficient. Of course, for Filipinos, we know how to take pictures. Kind of a very nice, dramatic photo there. Of course, we're all decked out in our Filipiniana because later that afternoon was when we had our meeting at the DFA. Is that my cue to share the other photos, I think? Are we on schedule here? Yeah, okay. Let's see. Let me try not to mess this up.
Because I also think this is the year of the mannequin challenge as well. I've seen a lot from that.
It was, yes. 1 second, I am trying to toggle between these tabs here. Second. Yeah, 2016 for all of you that were online. The mannequin challenge was a thing, and we have just so many clips of us doing the mannequin challenge in all sorts of places, from the National Museum to it's not showing up. I apologize. It's not showing up on my screen, my tabs here.
Struggle's real.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. I just needed to scroll down. So since you mentioned the mannequin challenge, let me just start with this other photo here, if it will let me. Okay, wait, it's. Well, long story short, we did a mannequin challenge at the Manila Polo Club with Ambassador Quisha also participated, along with several of the undersecretaries. So I think that was the pinnacle of our mannequin challenge that week. Some other highlights were our service project, which we participated in a Habitat for Humanity project where we helped build the new housing in Quezon City. The name, the number of the project escapes me, but again, they put us to work, mixing concrete and tearing down all the walls, and then having lunch with the families. And again, that was another one of those very fascinating kind of on the ground experiences where we learn about housing policy and kind of the dynamics of the local economy there. And even one of our batchmates, I think Dondi, grew up in an adjacent project there. So again, for some folks, this was all new. Every moment was a brand new experience, and then for some other people, it was almost it was literally a homecoming. And it was really great to see everybody's individual reactions to all the different activities that we'd participated in.
I think you touched upon this, but I'd love to go back to it a little bit because I think it really shows kind of the evolution of FYLPRO. obviously the immersion program is a signature program of the organization, but I think as we've kind of moved on through the years, really kind of using this organization to help your personal career goals. And I think you do this really well with Tayo as part of being our product council, which you kind of made up this role, but like I think not enough people do this enough, and I'd love to have you kind of talk a little bit about that and how you can really leverage this in so many ways. It's not just for helping the community, but also helping yourself and your career as well. So
yeah, sure. So when I first found out that the COVID task force had been launched, obviously I did want to pitch in and help out. And when we started out, doing like supplemental fundraising, which helped, get PPE to places, that needed it, both here in the U.S. and in the Philippines. But I think the total game changer was when it was decided that we would apply for the seed money for Tayo from the Booz Allen Foundation. That's when it kind of signaled to me that this was very serious. When we would spend all those weeks just on the pitch deck and rehearsing. In any of my previous kind of professional experiences, I'd never been part of that world. I just kind of have been adjacent to it. But again, being part of a nonprofit startup was just an incredibly exciting experience. And it still is because I'm still working on it. And of course, it started out where, y'all needed me to, kind of sign off on some contracts and review them. But as, we've scaled up and gotten more funding and attracted more partners, of course, the kind of the legal and regulatory kind of obligations have gotten a little more complex and interesting, so everything from onboarding our fellows, to working out syndication agreements, with Southern California Public Radio and Kaiser Health News, some of these really, big names that I never would have expected would be kind of part of our work, especially serving such, kind of a very specific community. And then now with our, PSA campaign, like me personally kind of hiring an audio producer and having to, look up what are, copyright and sampling, issues, which again, has helped me become, a more well-rounded and stronger attorney. But then all the kind of operational responsibilities that comes with it, being a mentor to, our younger Philams who are coming up behind us, and just, just management skills, a lot of this translates to my other, board service as well. And so I find that, there's no such thing as useless knowledge, in my opinion. It's just knowledge that, you haven't had to deploy yet. And so this past year and a half have just been an incredible learning experience for me. And I'm forever, grateful for it. And, I actually look forward to these, Sunday afternoons that we kind of been giving up this whole year, because we're truly, bi-coastal and global team as well. So I'm really excited that FYLPRO's footprint has been expanding with its programs and initiatives as well. And that, of course, the immersion trip is our signature program, and we're gonna really keep selling it, as hard as we can. But it's really cool that there are other touch points as well, especially for our younger community members who might not hit the eligibility requirements yet, but they can definitely get out of the gate running after racking up some experience and mentorship opportunities, with our new programs.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for always looking over all our legal stuff. It's been a big help. Yeah, and I think you nailed it. I think that's the beauty of FYLPRO, not only, the bonding and just the cultural immersion you get from the actual immersion program, but also having the opportunity to lead things or, do things that you probably normally wouldn't get the chance to do at your normal workplace or at school and whatnot. And I think there's very few spaces that actually allow for that. In a way that's very supportive. So thank you again. One last question. So what advice would you have for folks that are considering applying for FYLPRO?
Sure. So I definitely noticed that we're a very diverse bunch in that, some people have been really active in the community a long time, such that, a couple of people in my cohort, I had been introduced to, before going on the trip. But then there's other people who, super accomplished, really bright, but maybe this FYLPRO experience was kind of their first big foray into engaging with their Filipino identity. So I would say no matter, what end of that spectrum you're from, as you're preparing your application, it's never too early to kind of seek out and get involved. Of course, depending on which community, there might not be a lot of Filipinos where you're at, but, through the magic of the internet, you can join events like this, our webinars coming up, our, subsequent fellowship opportunities. Just so if you're not that familiar about kind of the history and the issues of Filipinos and the diaspora, again, it's never too early to start kind of developing that grounding. So maybe that's one piece of advice I would give to somebody who's considering hopefully next year applying for our in-person program.
All right, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much to our Tayo Product Council, Mark Calaguas, for joining us here today and also giving up your Sundays every week. So thank you again.
Thanks.
All right, next up is a quick recap of the immersion program. I believe it's from my year, 2019. Is that correct? Yes. All right. Well, shout out to batch 8. That was from 2019. So that leads us to the end of our program. Thank you again for everyone. Just want hopefully things improve COVID wise so that we are able to travel again safely and have another immersion program. Until then, we are still here, also serving the community, as well as hoping to influence and inspire the next generation of leaders. Just want to thank everyone here, Jennifer, Sabrina, who helped coordinate this, our president, Luella Capolona, our 2 special guests for today, Joshua Ong Price and Mark Alaguas. Please tune in every day this week at this time to walk back in time in the history of FYLPRO, what we're doing today, and what's ahead for us. Thank you again.